Well, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. My name is David Huang from Harvest for the Hungry, and I am going to tell you a little bit about myself and what I do, and then I'm going to have Dr. Kelchner do the same, and we're going to just talk about some topics that are related to innovative approaches for farming in the future. Again, my name is David Huang, and my background is pretty unique, I would say. You know, I'm a physician. I work at the VA hospital in the emergency room as a physician. I am a pastor at a Presbyterian church in League City, and I am a farmer at a nonprofit farm called Harvest for the Hungry, located in Oyster Creek, Texas, on 61 acres. And our farm has the mission of growing local, nutritious farm foods for those struggling with food insecurity. And so we have 61 acres where we grow fruits and vegetables, and we have a lake that has edible fish, catfish, bass, crappie, bluegill. We have also 30 bee boxes where we grow honey. But more important than the honey is that bees are pollinators. And then we also have a chicken and guinea fowl coop where we have eggs that we harvest, but also meat that we harvest. And so our mission is to grow this food to give to our food insecure communities because we're in a food desert. And what a food desert means is that there isn't local, nutritious foods in a grocery store in nearby or surrounding areas. Most of the food is obtained by our food insecure communities, unfortunately, at gas stations and also at the Dollar General and local food pantries. There isn't a grocery store that is nearby that sells nutritious foods like vegetables and meat and dairy products and other things. And so they're dependent upon these foods that are boxed foods and canned foods, which unfortunately boxed foods are highly processed. They have high sugars, they have high fats, and then canned foods are high in salt. And so those foods are really unhealthy, but unfortunately that's all that they have access to. So having a farm, which our farm is the only one within a 10-mile radius of where our farm is in Oyster Creek, is one of our ways of addressing food insecurity. But instead of just handing a bag of food to an individual or a family member and letting them go on their way, what our strategy for addressing food insecurity is to educate and empower individuals and communities to address food insecurity within their own within their own communities. And how do we do that? Well, what we do is we educate and we train one-on-one technical assistance with individuals and family members on how to grow food like we are doing at the farm so that they can go back and do it at their home, school, or work environment. And that's one of our goals, is to educate and empower so that they can do what we're doing at the farm in their own elements. Now, some of the innovative approaches what we're doing at the farm includes sensor and GPS technology. This allows for precision farming. When you have sensors detecting the moisture, the soil health, the humidity, the temperature, and then that data feeds into us, farmers, that allows us to tailor our treatments of our produce in a healthy, safe manner. We're also looking at ways of utilizing the natural resources at our farm to increase produce in a both qualitative and quantitative manner. We have a 30-acre lake. We're utilizing floating mat technology. Floating mat technology allows us to plant vegetables on top of the lake so that we're growing food above the water, but we're also getting food under the water with fish. So just giving you a few examples of our innovative farming for the future. I'm going to let Dr. Kelchner also talk about himself, his background, and also innovative approaches that he's doing with his company.
Thank you, Dr. Huang. Truly, if anyone has an opportunity to go down to Oyster Creek, Freeport, to see what Dr. Huang and his group have been doing for a number of years, it is really a tremendous effort and a great support to the community. My name's Tom Kelchner. Background-wise, I'm a public educator by trade. 33 years in public education before I stepped into business. And yes, I was a principal and so forth. But in the last several years, I've been a business consultant and gotten involved with Eden Grow Systems. We have a table out there if anyone wants to get some more materials from us. But I want to start, before I tell you more technically, I want to kind of segue from what David said about why we're doing this. David mentioned food deserts. A food desert, again, is an area where the residents don't have good, nutritious food sources or decent Kroger's or H-E-B's and so forth in proximity. So it creates several issues. Just good food in itself. How about feeding your children? How about nutritive value, which when you don't have good nutrition often does lead to mental health issues. So it's a cycle. How many people would you say, this is a question, just in the greater Houston area, how many people, how many citizens are considered as living in food deserts in the greater Houston area? Give me a number.
100,000.
How many?
100,000.
Keep going.
400,000.
Keep going.
6.
Almost. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, over 500,000 residents in Greater Houston. We say Greater Houston, we're talking about the surrounding areas, going down into Brazoria County, going into Galveston County, and so forth. But it's appalling when you look at the map of Texas, of Greater Houston, when you look at the map of the United States. And there are so many pockets of food insecurity, because a food desert, once again, it's defined by proximity to good food sources, but it also means that people don't have consistent, sustainable food security where they're able to take care of themselves and their children and their families. So that's a big why for us, what we're doing in order to create systems that can help everyone. We're the richest country in the universe, but we have, like I said, in Houston alone, 500,000 that are in food insecure situations. So that's a driving force between what we do in Eden Grow Systems, and we also founded the Feed the Future Foundation. This is a nonprofit organization that I chair, and the premise there is to raise funding in order for us to be able to give food systems, food towers, to churches, to schools, community centers. We're working with Texas AgriLife on a veteran support project and so forth. So it allows us to take our unique, innovative systems and give them to those groups that can really benefit. And what does that mean? Well, first of all, it means that we're supporting food production systems. So if we are in the 3rd Ward, another food desert, we're working with some folks right now. David and I chair a coalition of nonprofit groups that are all devoted to these issues of food insecurity and independent food systems. But we're supporting efforts where we can create some grow systems, grow operations in areas where it's needed, and therefore fresh fruits, vegetables, potatoes, microgreens, pick something, can be grown and distributed or sold. So what does all that mean? How do we do that? Does anyone know what aeroponics means? You raised your hand. Okay. Okay, we have aquaponics, we have hydroponics, and we have aeroponics. We specialize Eden Grow Systems, grow towers, They're 7-foot tall towers where we're able to plant seeds of, again, pretty much anything in the way of produce, fruits, vegetables, and so forth. And aeroponic means that the roots can grow in air, as opposed to hydroponics where roots are saturated, it's growing in water. This technology is exciting because it was actually developed by NASA. And our company was able to adopt it as a spin-off technology several years ago. And the reason NASA developed it is because of the obvious implications for space travel. You don't need a large supply of water in order to use our system. So the implications for that include not only space exploration, but there will be a biodome on Mars in the next couple decades, and our systems will be there. So basically, it means that we're able to grow, again, whatever the crop you might want to grow. We're able, in the tower, the roots grow down. Of course, it does need water, but there's a misting system. They're not growing in water. They're being misted, and then we have LED lights that sustain the growth. The virtue to our system is the fact that the production cycle is shorter, the yield is higher, and the nutritive value, the nutrition, is significantly higher. It's farm to table. It's much, even if you go to H-E-B today, the lettuce you're going to buy is still going to be dated. Yes, sir.
Does it reduce the need for pesticides to protect the crops?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Pesticides, basically, it's an indoor grow system, so there is much less of a chance for any type of pests or bugs and so forth, which in turn relieves the need for using pesticides, which again, essentially you're injecting poison when you do that. So that's an excellent point. So it's a really innovative system. Now, again, what does that look like in different examples? That it could be that if you want to buy one and put it in your garage, you have an indoor grow system. We're working with on some projects with Energy Institute High School in HISD, and they've been involved in we're generating some projects. So the application for ag programs, CTE programs, environmental science is significant. We also, on a different scale, we're working with the city of Calvert. Anyone know where Prairie View A&M and Texas A&M is? Calvert's out that way. On a much larger scale, the city of Calvert, a food desert in Robertson County, they are also economically depressed. So you've got all these factors. So what we're doing with the city is actually starting a large grow operation with our towers for the city of Calvert. So that does a couple things. It provides revenue to the city because they will sell the produce to the restaurants and so on and so forth. It gives, we've met with the school district, the superintendent and school board. There'll be a process where we'll also be supplying food stuff, et cetera, to the cafeteria services. And then we'll spiral that out. I mean, even into farmers markets and things like that. So this is a much larger example of how we can impact an entire community. Another example, talk about food desert. Anyone know where Nassau Bay is? Space Center, Houston, Johnson Space Center. Pretty affluent community, right? At least I thought so until I got involved with this effort. If you know the history, Nassau Bay was built by NASA for residences for astronauts, technicians, mathematicians, the whole team. So you think of it as an affluent area. It is a food desert. That one blew me away. But the point is that there's a church who has been doing great philanthropic, can't talk today either, philanthropic work in the community, distributing food through the Houston Food Bank. St. Thomas Episcopal, they're the church, they wanted to start their own grow operation. They were not able to fund it. They wanted our towers. They were not able to fund it, so we were able to go to the city of Nassau Bay and get funded through my foundation, which we in turn allowed us to put 3 towers at the church. That church is now producing its own food to serve those in need. Those are different examples of how we can go from, the very large-scale projects to individual retail products to working with, again, ag programs, so forth. The point of it is, of course, that this is the technology of the future, and the future is now. People ask me, what do I think the world's going to look like in a couple years? Anyone know that answer? I don't. But I do know a couple things. Water scarcity and food scarcity are issues that are here. They're not going away, and because of world conditions, are only going to be exacerbated in the next couple years. Water scarcity and food scarcity. So this concept, this program of being able to use aeroponic indoor technology allows us to provide food supplies 365 days a year, 24/7, at a larger scale, higher yield, more nutritive value, and it's needed. I go back, I start and stop with the why. It's needed. There are so many issues, and what we're doing in trying to promote this concept is about taking care of those in need. So